The next chapter we are going to deal is with photosynthesis. It's not a new topic for us. It's a basic topic, and I think most of you might be knowing how the process takes place and where the process takes place. So only the basic things we will be discussing in this, not into the core. So just a general introduction of photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is a process used by plants and other organisms to capture the sun's energy to split off water's hydrogen from oxygen. Hydrogen is combined with carbon dioxide to form glucose and release oxygen. So all living cells in turn use fuels derived from glucose and oxidize the hydrogen and carbon to release the sun's energy and reform water and carbon dioxide in the process. So photosynthesis occurs in plants, algae and many species of bacteria, but only in one organism doesn't occur, that is in algae. Archaea, the photosynthesis doesn't occur. Photosynthetic organisms are called photoautotrophs since they can create their own food. So in plants, algae and cyanobacteria, photosynthesis uses carbon dioxide and water, releasing oxygen as a waste product. So in plants and algae, photosynthesis takes place in organelles called chloroplast. Plants absorb light primarily using the pigment chlorophyll, which is the reason that most plants have a green color. Besides chlorophyll, plants also use pigments such as carotenes and xanthophylls. Algae also use chlorophyll, but various other pigments are present as phytocyanin and carotenes and xanthophylls in green. Xanthophylls in green algae, phycoerythrin in red algae, and fucoxanthin in brown algae. What are the type of photosynthetic pigments present during photosynthesis? So for light energy to be used by living systems, it must be first be absorbed. So a pigment is any substance that absorbs light. Chlorophyll is such a pigment. So that makes leaves green. It absorbs light in the violet and blue wavelengths, and also in the red because it reflects green light. So that's why, because it reflects green, it reflects the green light, it appears to us as green. So different pigments absorb light energy at different wavelengths. So the absorption pattern of pigment is known as the absorption spectrum. The absorption spectrum of chlorophyll is between 400 nanometer and 700 nanometer. So that portion of spectrum is particularly known as the photosynthetically active region. In plants, chlorophyll is the pigment which is directly involved in the transformation of light energy to chemical energy. So structurally, all types of chlorophyll resemble one another. All of them contain four pyrrole rings or porphyrin rings, which are linked together by methane bridges. The skeleton of each pyrrole or porphyrin ring is made up of five atoms to four carbon atom, and one nitrogen with magnesium in the center as nucleus. So one pyrrole ring is esterified with a long chain alcohol phytol. The side chain phytol is long and composed of insoluble carbon and hydrogen atoms, which help to anchor the chlorophyll molecules with the thylakoids. In plants, there are two types of chlorophyll, namely chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Chlorophyll molecules look like a tadpole with with porphyrin head and phytol tail. Chlorophyll has A has a methyl group at position at first position, and aldehyde group in the chlorophyll B. So that's the difference between chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. One has a aldehyde group and other has one has a methyl group and other has a aldehyde group. Chlorophyll B absorbs a different wavelength of light other than that is absorbed by chlorophyll A. So on absorbing light, it becomes excited and transfers its chlorophyll A molecule. In plants and algae, photosynthesis usually takes place in organelles called chloroplast. So a typical plant cell contains about 10 to 100 chloroplasts. It's enclosed, the structure of the chloroplast, you can say it is enclosed by a membrane. This membrane is composed of a phospholipid inner membrane and a phospholipid outer membrane, and an intermembrane space between them is present between them. So within the membrane is an aqueous fluid called the stroma. This stroma, what you call this fluid space, this aqueous fluid stroma, it contains stacks or grana of thylakoids, which are called as the site of photosynthesis. The thylakoids are flattened disc bounded by a membrane with a lumen, or you can say a thylakoid space within it. So the site of photosynthesis is the thylakoid membrane, which contains the integral and peripheral membrane protein complexes, including the pigments that absorb light energy, which form the photosystems. The plant absorb light primarily using the pigment chlorophyll, which is the reason that most plants have a green color. Besides chlorophyll, plants use pigments such as carotenes and xanthophylls, as we discussed earlier. Light absorption, how it is done. So photosynthesis in plants is initiated by the absorption of light in the visible region. What is the visible region? Or there is a particular wavelength which you called as a visible region, which is visible to us. So that wavelength is around 400 to 700 nanometer. So absorption spectrum of chlorophyll, the blue and red parts of spectrum are effective in photosynthesis. Light moves in discrete particle called photons. So the energy content of a photon is called quantum. The energy content of photon varies with its wavelength. So the energy of photon is higher when wavelength is shorter and vice versa. When a chlorophyll molecule in its lower energy or on the ground state absorbs a photon or absorbs a discrete molecule, then the energy of the photon is transferred to one of the electrons in the outermost orbit of the chlorophyll molecule. So this electron having the higher energy level is elevated to a higher orbit equivalent to its energy level. The chlorophyll molecule is then said to be in a higher energy or excited state. The photosynthesis occurs inside chloroplast. As you can know. So chloroplast can contain chlorophyll, a green pigment, as we discussed earlier how the structure is and all, found inside the thylakoid membranes. So these chlorophyll molecules are arranged in group called photosystems. There are two types of photosystem, photosystem 2 and photosystem 1. When a chlorophyll molecule absorbs light, the energy from the light rises a electron within the chlorophyll molecule to a higher energy state, as we said before. The chlorophyll molecule is then said to be photoactivated. That process is called as photoactivated. And when it is activated to a higher energy state by absorbing the photon, it is called as photoactivated. So excited electron anywhere within the photosystem are then passed on from one photosystem molecule. That arises an electron within the chlorophyll to form the chlorophyll is then said to be photoactivated. So that electron anywhere within the photosystem then passes one chlorophyll molecule to the next until they reach a special chlorophyll molecule at the reaction center of the photosystem. That special chlorophyll molecule then passes this excited electron, that is excited, through which it got photoactivated. That excited electron is then transferred to a chain of electron carriers. The light dependent reaction starts within the photosystem 2. By the name, it says that there are two types, photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. But you don't have to get misunderstood by the photosystem 2, and that first it will getting the photosystem 1. No, the photosystem 2 comes first, then comes the photosystem 1. So the light dependent reaction starts with photosystem 2 actually. So when the excited electron reaches the special chlorophyll molecule at the reaction center of the photosystem 2, it is passed on to the chain of electron carriers. So this chain of electron carriers is found within the thylakoid membranes of the chloroplast. So as the excited electron passes from one carrier to the next, it releases energy. So that energy is then pumped into is used to pump protons across the thylakoid membrane and into the space within, that is the intermembrane space within the thylakoid. So this forms a proton gradient. The proton can travel back across the membrane down the concentration gradient to because they pass through ATP. This process can be passed through ATP synthase. ATP synthase is located on the thylakoid membrane, and it uses the energy released from the movement of the protons down the concentration gradient to synthesize this ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. So this synthesis of ATP in this phosphorylation manner is called as non-cyclic photophosphorylation. This is because it cannot be recycled. It's a unidirectional way. It cannot be cycled again. The electrons from the chain of electron carriers are then accepted by photosystem 1. So these electrons replace electrons previously lost from photosystem 1. Photosystem 1 then absorbs light and becomes photoactivated, same way as in photosystem 2. But electrons become excited again as they raise to higher energy state. So these excited electrons then pass across a short chain of electron carriers and are eventually used to reduce NADP to NADP plus in the stroma, which is present in the chloroplast. NADP plus accepts two excited electrons from the chain of carriers and one H plus ion from the stroma to form NADPH. So photosynthetic phosphorylation or photophosphorylation is the process of phosphate group transfer into ADP to synthesize energy-rich ATP molecule. It is used with the use of light as external energy source. So according to chemiosmotics hypothesis, the ATP synthesized on ATPase complexes located on non-aqueous portions of thylakoid membranes, particularly towards margin. Non-cyclic photophosphorylation and cyclic photophosphorylation. There are two types of photophosphorylation. The electrons lost by the photosystem 2, that is P680, then taken by P700 photosystem 1, and they do not get back to photosystem 680, that is they are unidirectional, and hence it is called as non-cyclic phosphorylation. The electrons pass through the primary acceptor, that is plastoquinone is the primary acceptor, then to the cytochrome complex, the plastocyanin, and finally to the P700. So the electrons given out by the P700 are taken up by the primary acceptor plastoquinone and are ultimately passed on to the NADP. The electrons combine with the hydrogen plus and reduce this NADP to NADPH2. So the hydrogen ions are called protons, which are made available by the splitting of water. Non-cyclic photophosphorylation uses a continuous supply of water molecules. So that as a net result of this, the formation of oxygen, NADPH and ATP molecules occur. Since it is only unidirectional, it is called as non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Unlike non-cyclic photophosphorylation, in cyclic photophosphorylation, the electrons released by the photosystem 1 and the presence of light are taken up by the primary acceptor and then passed on to the pyridoxine, that is cytochrome complex plastoquinone, cytochrome complex plastocyanin, and finally back to P700, that is electrons come back to the same molecule after cyclic movement. So the cyclic photophosphorylation also results in the formation of ATP molecules, just like non-cyclic photophosphorylation. But as the electrons move downhill down the proton gradient, and as they lose potential energy, and ATP molecules are formed in the same way as in mitochondria during respiration. During cyclic photophosphorylation, electrons from photosystem 1 are not passed to NADP from the electron acceptor. Instead, the electrons are transferred back to their P700. So that downhill movement of electrons from an electron acceptor to the P700 is a result in the formation of ATP, and thus it is called as cyclic photophosphorylation. And it is it is bidirectional way. The photosynthetic stages can be divided, or it is convenient to divide the photosynthetic process in plants into 4 stages. So the first step is absorption of light. The initial step in photosynthesis is the absorption of light by chlorophylls attached to proteins in the thylakoid membranes. Like cytochromes, chlorophylls consist of a porphyrin ring attached to a long hydrocarbon side chain. So they differ from the cytochromes in containing a central magnesium ion rather than iron is in the cytochromes, and having an additional 5-membered ring. So the energy of the absorbed light, which is used to remove electrons from unwilling donor, forming oxygen, and then to transfer the electrons to form a primary electron acceptor, a quinone, similar to propion. Electron transport. In electron transport, electrons move from the quinone primary electron acceptor through a chain of electron transport molecules in the thylakoid membrane until they reach the ultimate electron acceptor. Usually NADP plus is the ultimate electron acceptor. So it reduces to NADPH. So the transport of electrons is coupled to the movement of protons from the stroma to the thylakoid lumen or thylakoid space, forming a pH gradient across the thylakoid membrane. It is much in the same way that a proton motif force is established across the mitochondrial membrane during this electron transport. The next step is the generation of ATP. When protons move down their concentration gradient from the thylakoid lumen to the stroma through F0F1 complex, which couples proton movement to the synthesis of ATP from ADP and phosphate group. So the use of proton motif force to synthesize ATP is identical with the analogous process occurring during oxidative phosphorylation in mitochondria. Same as that. So carbon next is the last step is in the last step in photosynthesis stage is the carbon fixation. The ATP and NADH generated by the second and third stages of photosynthesis then produce the energy and the electrons to drive the synthesis of polymers of six carbon sugars from carbon dioxide and water. Chlorophyll absorbs light energy and starts a chain of steps that result in the production of ATP, NADPH and oxygen. So oxygen is released to the stoma. Both ATP and NAD are used in the dark reactions to produce sugar. Dark reaction occurs in the stroma. Or carbon dioxide is converted into sugar using ATP and NADPH. So that process is known as carbon fixation, or you can say as most commonly known as Calvin-Benson cycle or C3 cycle. In the first stage of the Calvin cycle, a carbon dioxide molecule is incorporated into one of the three carbon molecules, that is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, using up to 2 molecules of ATP and then 2 molecules of NADPH, both of which were produced in the light independent stage. It has a series of same like glycolysis. It also undergoes a series of reactions to which the carbon fixation cycle is formed. So these are the important steps in photosynthesis. So I hope you have understood all the basic things in photosynthesis.